There comes a time in every person's life when they must decide who they are going to be, not who the world wants them to be, not who they pretend to be, but who they truly are at the core. And the truth is, most people never take that journey. They spend their days trying to fit in, trying to impress, trying to match the expectations of people who may not even be paying attention. But life doesn't reward imitation. Life rewards authenticity. The real breakthroughs happen when you stop chasing approval and start honoring the quiet voice inside that says, "This is who I am." Being yourself isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest. It's about accepting your strengths, learning from your weaknesses, and understanding that the greatest gift you can give the world is the person you were created to be. When you step into that truth, something remarkable happens. You begin to walk lighter, think clearer, and stand taller. Your decisions become grounded instead of pressured. Your progress becomes meaningful instead of forced. You stop competing with others and start growing for yourself. You don't need to borrow someone else's personality, habits, or path to create a great life. You simply need the courage to show up as you are, consistently and unapologetically, because the moment you embrace your own identity, you unlock the power to build a life that fits you, not one that someone else designed. And that, my friend, is where freedom, confidence, and fulfillment truly begin. Authenticity is the foundation of lasting success because it anchors your life in something real, something steady, something that can't be taken away by changing trends or shifting opinions. When you build your life on someone else's expectations, you're building on sand. You might achieve a few things, you might impress a few people, but deep inside there's an emptiness because the success isn't truly yours. Authenticity is what gives success its meaning. It's what makes achievements feel fulfilling instead of exhausting. When you choose to be yourself, you stop performing and start living. You stop pretending and start growing. You stop chasing approval and start building character. This shift creates a level of peace and direction that imitation can never offer. Many people spend a lifetime trying to mold themselves into a shape that pleases others, not realizing that the world doesn't reward copies, it rewards originals. The truth is, your unique way of thinking, your personality, your gifts, your story, your setbacks, your perspective, those are the very things that make you valuable. But if you spend your life hiding them, the world never receives the real you. Authenticity brings a kind of strength that polished behavior can't match. When you're genuine, people trust you more. They connect with you more deeply. They respect your presence because they can sense that you're not trying to be anyone else. Living authentically also gives you emotional freedom. You no longer live in fear of being found out, judged, or exposed because you're not putting on a mask. You're not pretending to know everything or be everything. You're simply showing up as yourself. That honesty makes life lighter. It removes unnecessary pressure. It gives you room to learn, to make mistakes, to grow without shame, and to improve without comparing your progress to someone else's highlight reel. Authenticity builds resilience because when you know who you are, you're not easily shaken by the opinions of others. Success built on authenticity is success you can sustain. It doesn't collapse when someone criticizes you. It doesn't crumble when circumstances shift. It doesn't disappear when the crowd stops cheering. You remain steady because your foundation is rooted in your identity, not in approval. When you align your actions with who you truly are, opportunities start to feel right instead of forced. Relationships become richer. Work becomes more meaningful. Life becomes a journey of growth instead of a performance for validation. Being yourself is not only the path to personal peace, it's the path to creating success that lasts because it's built on the most solid foundation you have, the truth of who you are. Self-awareness creates personal power because it reveals the truth about who you are, what you want, and what direction your life should take. Without self-awareness, you move through life reacting instead of choosing, drifting instead of directing. Many people spend their time chasing goals that don't belong to them, copying habits that don't fit them, or pursuing approval from people who have no part in their future. But when you begin to understand yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, your patterns, your values, you gain the ability to make decisions that actually move your life forward. You stop wasting energy on things that don't align with you, and you start investing your time where it matters most. Self-awareness also gives you clarity. You begin to see your life from a higher perspective. You start recognizing why you respond the way you do, why certain habits hold you back, why certain environments drain you, and why certain dreams excite you. This clarity is powerful because it turns confusion into direction. It helps you understand your emotional triggers, your motivations, and the areas where you need to grow. Instead of stumbling into the same mistakes again and again, you begin making choices that reflect maturity and intention. With greater awareness comes greater responsibility. You can no longer blame circumstances for everything. You start to see the role you play in your outcomes. This isn't meant to burden you. It's meant to empower you, because once you understand your patterns, you can change them. Once you see your strengths, you can use them. Once you identify your weaknesses, you can improve them or work around them. Self-awareness puts the steering wheel back in your hands. This understanding also strengthens your confidence. When you know who you are, you stop trying to be everything for everyone. You stop comparing your journey to someone else's path. You stop feeling guilty for wanting something different. You feel grounded because you are building your life from the inside out. And when decisions come from your core, your true self, they feel lighter, clearer, and more sustainable. Self-awareness improves relationships as well. You communicate better, set healthier boundaries, and understand what you need from yourself and others. You stop expecting people to read your mind or fill the gaps you never addressed. This maturity allows relationships to grow with honesty instead of assumptions. Ultimately, self-awareness is personal power because it frees you from living unconsciously. It gives you the ability to choose your response, shape your habits, and build a life that reflects your true identity. It turns you from a passenger into the creator of your own direction, and that shift changes everything. Comparison steals joy and weakens potential because it shifts your focus from your own journey to someone else's, making you measure your worth against a moving target. When you compare yourself to others, you are ignoring the unique gifts, experiences, and circumstances that define who you are. You begin to chase goals that aren't truly yours, measure success in someone else's terms, and overlook the value of the path you are already on. Comparison creates unnecessary pressure, doubt, and frustration. It convinces you that you are not enough, that your progress is too slow, or that your accomplishments are insignificant. But the truth is, your uniqueness is your greatest advantage. No one can replicate your talents, your perspective, or your story, and when you embrace that, you begin to see life differently. When you stop comparing, you reclaim energy and focus that was previously wasted on envy, doubt, or insecurity. You start appreciating your own growth, your own milestones, and the lessons that only you could learn. Comparison often masks the progress you've made because it constantly highlights what someone else has achieved. By redirecting that attention inward, you see opportunities to improve yourself rather than trying to mimic another person's path. This shift is powerful because it allows you to act with intention, not imitation. It allows you to create results that are authentic, sustainable, and meaningful. When you pursue your own growth rather than someone else's, every step becomes valuable, every effort becomes rewarding, and every success becomes personal fulfillment. Comparison also limits creativity and innovation because it encourages conformity. When you are focused on what others are doing, you suppress the unique ideas and approaches that could set you apart. The world does not need another copy of someone else's life or work. It needs your originality, your voice, your vision. Your differences are what make you stand out. And when you celebrate them instead of hiding them, doors open that were never available to those who simply follow the crowd. Moreover, comparison steals joy in the present moment. You may achieve what you were chasing only to find that satisfaction is temporary because your benchmark has shifted again. Joy comes from alignment with your own values, progress, and accomplishments. It comes from appreciating the journey you are on, not envying the journey of someone else. When you embrace your uniqueness, you create a life where your potential is fully expressed, your confidence grows naturally, and your energy is devoted to building a future that belongs to you, not to the reflection of someone else's success. Character grows when you align your actions with your values because every choice you make shapes the person you are becoming. Life constantly presents opportunities to act in ways that either support who you truly are or compromise your integrity for convenience, approval, or immediate gain. When your decisions are guided by your principles, you build trust with yourself and with others, and you create a foundation for lasting respect, influence, and fulfillment. Character is not something you are born with. It is something you develop through consistent, intentional behavior. Every time you act in alignment with your values, you strengthen your sense of identity and reinforce the belief that you are capable, reliable, and authentic. Conversely, when you compromise your values for short-term advantage or external validation, you weaken your sense of self, erode trust, and introduce internal conflict that can derail your progress. Living in alignment with your values also provides clarity in decision-making. When you know what you stand for, choices that might once have seemed overwhelming or confusing become simpler because you have a consistent standard to measure them against. Values act like a compass, pointing you toward actions that are meaningful and away from distractions that drain energy or divert your attention. This alignment not only builds character, but also ensures that the life you create is congruent with who you are at your core, reducing regret and increasing satisfaction in your personal and professional endeavors. Alignment between values and actions strengthens resilience as well. Life is full of challenges, criticism, and pressure to conform. When your actions are consistent with your principles, you face adversity with confidence and calm because your foundation is solid. You are less likely to be shaken by external forces or swayed by fleeting opinions because your self-respect and clarity of purpose are rooted in your choices, not in external validation. This internal strength allows you to pursue long-term goals, maintain integrity in relationships, and persist in the face of obstacles that might discourage others. Furthermore, living according to your values fosters meaningful relationships. People are drawn to authenticity and consistency. They trust those who act in ways that match their beliefs, and they respect individuals who demonstrate courage, honesty, and integrity. Character becomes not only a personal asset, but a social one, amplifying your influence, deepening your connections, and attracting opportunities that align with your life vision. By consistently aligning actions with values, you cultivate a life of authenticity, trust, and purpose. Each choice reinforces your identity and lays the groundwork for long-term fulfillment, creating a cycle of growth and integrity that touches every aspect of life. Becoming yourself is a daily choice because it requires conscious effort, reflection, and courage to resist the pull of external expectations. Every day, life presents countless opportunities to conform, to imitate, to follow the crowd, and to act in ways that feel safe rather than true. Most people drift through these moments unconsciously, letting habits, opinions, and pressures define their identity. But those who choose to become themselves understand that authenticity is not a one-time decision. It is a continual practice. Each morning brings a chance to recommit to your values, to honor your strengths, to confront your weaknesses, and to show up as the person you are meant to be, not as someone else expects you to be. This choice begins with honesty. You must take the time to see yourself clearly without excuses or illusions. You must acknowledge your talents and gifts, but also recognize areas that need growth. Self-reflection is critical because it illuminates the patterns, habits, and beliefs that either support your true self or obscure it. When you take responsibility for understanding who you are, you gain the clarity necessary to make decisions that align with your inner purpose. Without this awareness, you risk living a life directed by circumstance rather than choice, reacting to events instead of creating your path. Courage is the companion of authenticity because being yourself often challenges comfort zones and invites criticism or judgment. Standing firm in your identity can feel vulnerable, but it is in that vulnerability that growth occurs. Every time you act in alignment with your true self, even when it is difficult or unpopular, you reinforce the habit of integrity. Over time, these choices compound, building confidence, resilience, and a sense of empowerment that cannot be shaken by external opinion. Courage transforms authenticity from a fleeting aspiration into a sustainable way of living. Responsibility is equally essential. Becoming yourself means owning your decisions, your habits, and the consequences that follow. It means refusing to blame others for the direction of your life and instead taking charge of your growth, your relationships, and your outcomes. When you combine honesty, courage, and responsibility, each day becomes an opportunity to shape your identity deliberately rather than letting life define it for you. Ultimately, choosing to become yourself daily creates a life that is meaningful, empowered, and aligned with your deepest values. It is through these consistent, intentional choices that you unlock your potential, build lasting confidence, and create a future that is truly yours rather than a reflection of anyone else's expectations.